Hello and welcome to the 12th African Archery Championships here in South Africa's capital, Pretoria. We're at the University of Pretoria Sports Stadium, otherwise known as the Tuks Stadium. I'm Karim Bashir, and joining me is World Archery's Chris Wells. We've got a recurve session ahead of us here at these championships, Chris.
Yeah, looking forward to some excellent matches this afternoon. We saw some real thrillers this morning, especially in the compound men's and barebow categories. Full afternoon. We've got two team finals, mixed team final, and the bronze and gold medal matches in the individual events coming up this afternoon.
Well, let's go straight down to the field of play for the team introductions for the Recurve Women's Bronze.
And on target number 2, representing Kenya, Cookie Anwar, Diram Elma, and Agnes Kirigo Kinyua.
Sur la cible numéro 1, Esme Diombo, Patoubane et Ekpopi Anne-Marie Eleonore Yudagne représentant le Côte d'Ivoire.
And our judge for this afternoon is Amira Mansour.
Et le juge pour ce match est Amira Mansour.
So there we have it, Ivory Coast lining up with Esme Diombo, Fatou Gabane and Anne-Marie Yadani. Kenya with Kuki Anwar, Diram Elema and Agnes Kinyua. Chris, in these early stages, tell us what we're about to see.
Set system for recurve archery. Sets of 6 arrows. Highest score in the set wins 2 set points. Draw is 1 set point. First team to 5 set points wins the match. Looks like on the right side, at least on Kenya's side, it's going to be Kuki Anwar leading off. She could be an X factor in this one, shooting for individual gold here as well.
Three. Five.
So 15 out of a maximum 30 through the first rotation.
There's Anwar, defending individual champion at these African Championships, held the title for 6 years.
Eight. Four.
So we now go back through the rotation for the Ivory Coast.
8-9 liner.
It's great to see these two teams in the final. Neither was on the podium 6 years ago in Namibia. What a change over the last half decade in the continent.
9. Seven.
So making some big adjustments there. 39 set by the Ivory Coast.
6. 7. Three.
Well, that's gone off wide and to the right. So a big spread of arrows there, looking for consistency in the groupings. That's certainly not what we saw from the Kenyan team. Chris, perhaps a bit of a shaky start from Kenya. The nerves of being on TV in an African finals for the first time, perhaps?
100%. This is the first time both of these teams will be shooting in this kind of arena. The first time both of these teams will be shooting in front of any kind of cameras at all. Like I said, neither of these teams were on the podium 6 years ago in Windhoek, so there's been change, there's been progress, but they'll need to get used to it. And we can hear in the background as well, there is more wind than there was this morning, so not an easy place to be, not an easy ask.
Having a good look at the Kenyan target here to check the scores. Chris, you said Anwar is African champion reigning for 6 years. That's a little unusual, isn't it?
Yeah, instead of having an African Championships in 1819, they combined it with the African Games, and that's where all the Olympic qualification for the continent in Tokyo was done. And then, of course, we had the pandemic in 2021, and many events were cancelled. So this is, in 2022, the first African Championships we've had since 2016. And actually, as far as I know, there won't be another 6-year wait, because there'll be another African Championships next year when Olympic qualification for Paris does start. So should Anwar manage to win again this afternoon, she'll hold it for 7 years in a block of 6 and a block of 1. Interesting.
Scores finally confirmed, and as you can see, it will be the Kenyans who will shoot first in the second set, trailing as they do by 2 set points to 0. Anwar up to the line, and I think it's quite clear that that wind has picked up. Flags around the range all blowing away. Important start for Kenya here.
7. Seven. Five.
So 19 for the Kenyan trio through that first rotation.
And clearly disappointed after that last shot.
9.
It's difficult in the team event to get into a rhythm because you're only shooting 1 arrow at a time. So you've really got to rely on your teammates to communicate. It's also very different from the elimination phases where you don't have to do 2 rotations. So yeah, really new experience for both these teams.
9-10.
So at least 18 for Gabani, and then Diombo. Danny just takes a little bit more time to get set up.
8.
Provisional 26 could get marked up to a 27.
8.
5.
Well, big opportunity here. Fatou Gabani. The Ivory Coast could effectively do this in 2 arrows now.
5.
So Diombo 5 or more, and they'll get a free arrow in this set.
10.
Oh, first 10 of the match. So pressure very much off Anne-Marie Udani here. And a clear win in that set to go 4-0 up. Is this a bit of a surprise, Chris, or were you expecting the Ivory Coast to rank first for this to make it look as easy as they are at the moment, of course?
The Ivory Coast has been one of the stronger teams in Africa for a long, long time. Historically, I would say perhaps the men have been a little bit stronger than the women, but really clear that there's been a lot of growth in the Ivory Coast of late. It's really now down to the coaches. I mean, in a team, you don't have that time to readjust. You don't have that time to settle yourself, and it's really down now to the coaches to settle that team and give them the tools to come back and settle themselves into the match. Of course, behind the Kenyan team is Tabitha Manwa, who's been helping out in Kenya for a long time, the mother of Cookie. Again, one of her first experiences coaching at this level in this kind of arena. So it's really challenging to say how they react, but they've got an opportunity in the set system, even 4-0 down, to bring this back. It's just going to have to be really quick, really confident, a lot more communication, I think, between the team members, because you can see how well that communication is working on the Côte d'Ivoire side.
Well, it's pressure taken off by their performance so far for the Ivory Coast. All I have to do now is match the Kenyans to take this African title.
Is leading by 4 points to 0. Thank you.
So set number 3, Kenya trailing by 4 points to 0. They can, of course, change their order, but we suspect it will be Kuki Anwar stepping up to the line as Fatou Gabani shows that there is really no pressure on Ivory Coast at the moment.
Almost all of Cookie's arrows have landed in that low right 7 area, and that's what I'm talking about this adjusting in a team. You don't have that rhythm or that single target face where you can see your group, and to perform well as a team, you really need to be able to interpret over the distance, over the time, and between team members, and Kenya just haven't done that in this match.
Yeah, a 2 there from Agnes Kenya. LMR up into the 5s, and there's just, as you say, Chris, no real consistency at the moment. Couple of good arrows here, and Ivory Coast will be in an incredibly strong position.
9.
Well, that levels things up, and they've got 1 arrow to go through this first rotation. Oh, perfect. And while staying
Another
focused.
arrow from Kuki Anwar, low right. We'll watch that for later in an individual final.
Well, scored a 3. Dirham and Emma with the last arrow of the last set.
7.
Better here, setting a target of 36. So a lot of breathing space here for Gabane, Diombo and Yedani. Eight and more, or more, and this is done with an arrow to spare.
9.
It's into the 9, and that means the result is secure. 1 more arrow to go. Let's have a bit of fun with this one. Puts it over into the 5, but it's more than enough for the Ivory Coast to take the match 6 set points to 0, and with it claim the Recurve Women's Team African Championship title in 2022. Well, complete and utter dominance from the Ivory Coast there, Chris.
Yeah, the Ivory Coast team just dealt with this this finals arena much better. We've said it at the start, but this is the first time in 6 years of this African Championships, first time in front of cameras, the first time either of these teams will have been asked to do what they've been asked to do today, which is perform with that extra pressure and in this different format, right? It's not just the situation, but it's the rules of head-to-head finals archery. They change slightly. In the match play and eliminations field, you get more time. You don't have to rotate in 2 rotations, 1 hour at a time. There's a little bit more rhythm to it, or you can have a little bit more rhythm as an archer. Here, the rhythm is all team-based, and it's communication, and it's understanding, and it's interpretation over the entire match that allows you to win. And the Côte d'Ivoire team were simply more prepared and the better squad in that field.
And is that a feature of the fact that they have been one of the strongest nations in this continent? You mentioned the men's team perhaps led the way, but with that experience the men's team have led, it then sort of filters into the women's team as well.
I mean, absolutely. I don't remember. I mean, I don't remember everything anyway, but I don't remember either of these teams having a full women's team at the last African Championships. And I certainly don't remember Kenya having one at all. Côte d'Ivoire has competed as a team on the World Cup circuit before for experience. So, you know, it's an exciting time. 2 new teams on the podium, change and progress in the continent.
We take a look back over the match. But a strong performance from Ivory Coast. Silver medal, of course, for the Kenyan team, as Chris said, competing perhaps for the first time as a team in this competition. The host nation, South Africa, collecting the bronze medal just a little bit earlier on today. Well, two more team matches to come. Coming up next, it's the Recurve men's team gold medal match. I can tell you that Algeria beat Kenya to the bronze medal a little bit earlier on. So it's over to Egypt and South Africa to decide who is going to be this year's African champion in the Recurve men's team discipline.
And we talked about the fact that the women's team the women's team final featured two completely new countries. This is exactly the opposite. Same lineup for the final 6 years ago in Windhoek. And at that event, it was South Africa that took the gold. Egypt taking silver. We'll see if that plays out again the same this time around.
The Egyptians came through Kenya 6-0 in the semi-finals. It's a tighter match for South Africa, who beat Algeria 5 points to 3 to make it through to this gold medal match. Algeria recovering from the loss in the semi-finals to beat Kenya to take bronze 6-0. So all that remains in this event is to decide whether Egypt can overturn the result from the last African Championships and beat South Africa to the title.
And coaches to the field for the Recurve men team.
Mesdames et messieurs, veuillez souhaiter la bienvenue aux juges et les coachs pour cette finale d'or en art classique équipe d'hommes.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the archers to the field.
Mesdames et messieurs, veuillez accueillir les archers sur le terrain.
Oh, here they come. Time to welcome the teams out to this medal range here in Pretoria.
On target number 1, representing Egypt, Ali Abdelbar. Behind it, Ali Ahmed Hegab. And on target 2, representing South Africa, Brandon Gibbon, Graham Lindner, and Vion Roux.
Sur la cible numéro 1, représentant l'Égypte, Ali Abdelbar, Bahaldin Ali et Ahmed Hegab. Sur la cible numéro 2, Brandon Gibbon, Graham Lindner et Vion Roux, représentant l'Afrique du Sud.
And the judge for this competition is Hussein Eddin Ben Abdul Fettah.
Et le juge pour ce match est Hussein Eddin Ben Abdul Fettah.
So the men's team gold medal match sees Egypt going up against South Africa, the host nation. Egypt line up with Ali Abdelbar, Ali Baha Eldin and Ahmed Hegab. That is Baha Eldin. South Africa with Brandon Gibbon, Graham Lindner and Vion Roux. First up, it's over to Baha Eldin for Egypt.
Seven.
Hegab shooting in second position through the first rotation.
7.
And Abdelbar completing the Egyptian first rotation. Brandon Gibbon first up for the Republic of South Africa, also going low as the Egyptians did. Graham Lidner in the middle.
9. 7.
Win Root completing things, and both teams level after that first rotation.
Be interesting techniques from the Egyptian team. They're quite similar and kind of drawing low and then coming up to the face. It's a style that's probably most famously used by Jean-Charles Valadon, the silver medalist from Rio 2016 in France. This is more exaggerated and due to the fact his shoulder dislocates, but it's been quite effective for him. Wonder where that inspiration comes from.
Well, a 43 set by the Egyptians may offer some comfort to South Africa here.
9.
Can't quite put it out of reach with an arrow to spare, but a good arrow here, and South Africa will take control of this gold medal match.
9.
I think that counts as a good arrow. Pressure off Vian Roux, who really could use some practice in this team final ahead of his individual final later.
9.
Also a great arrow for a 49, and a good swing in that second rotation, all square after 3 arrows each. But South Africa faring better in the second rotation. How much will that rattle the Egyptians, that 4 in particular from Ali Abdelbar?
That's the name of the game in the set system, is that every time it's wiped clean, and if you do let it rattle you, then you're probably on your way to losing the match. The second time around, if they win the second set, it's all level again, and we're back to the beginning. You can see them talking to each other on the Egyptian side, and you know, it's interesting in these team rounds. There's a lot of talk between the Egyptian archers before they go and shoot, but after they've shot, there's not so much conversation back. And if you watch the world's best teams, as the archers come off the line, they're communicating back to their teammates, because, you know, and there's so many decisions to make when you shoot an arrow: where to aim, what the wind's doing, what the timing's doing. And you know, if you don't communicate to your team what's happened, what you've done, they don't learn anything, because that information and evaluating that information is so critical. And they don't know what you've done. They don't know where you've aimed. They don't know how you shot the arrow, if it's a good one, a bad one. So they might take incorrect information if you don't communicate. And it's something that these teams have to learn. A great place to do it in this finals arena.
Well, South Africa with the early start, taking a 2-0 lead in this Recurve men's team gold medal match at the African Championships. So Egypt will shoot first in the second, and it's Bahal Eldin on the line.
They're looking much more comfortable in this second set.
Nine.
So how are South Africa going to handle the pressure of a 28 out of 30 from Egypt?
10.
Well, that's a pretty good start from Brandon Gibbon.
It's a very, very tough arrow to come back from in the first rotation, but the important thing is, early on in the set, these South African archers do not give up.
7.
Not looking happy either.
Eight, 9 liner. Nine.
Egypt, of course, has a history of performance as a training center in Cairo and a Youth Olympic champion, Ibrahim Sabri, back in 2010. Different squad here, but it's not unprecedented.
9.
Well, by my calculations, that puts this one out of reach, and that 54, if anything, could get marked up to a 55 if that fourth arrow from Ali is
9.
marked up.
Look at the differences between those first two sets. First set, Egypt just couldn't get comfortable, couldn't find the middle. Second one really brought it back together, and they are the top seeds in this competition. So this is more the kind of level we would have expected for the defending African champions. And what a recovery there from Linda. 4 with his first arrow, 10 with his second.
Wow, a completely different rotation. The second one from South Africa, a 49, which is what they scored in the first set. But on this occasion, the number 1 seed shooting a 54 to draw things level, as you predicted, Chris.
It's my crystal ball at work, Karen, but that's what's important, right? You have a bad first set, reset for the second, pull it back and start from scratch. We've got a shorter race now, ignoring the first 2 sets. Just a set win and a set draw to take this African title, to defend this African title if you're the Egyptian squad.
Yeah, different complexion, but still that communication you talked about, Chris, very different on either side of the shooting line.
Yeah, and I think it shows actually that Egypt does have that training center and kind of training camp mentality. I'm honestly not sure how much these South African archers have practiced together ahead of this event, but it's not so centralized, I do know, in South Africa and Egypt. And if they're training together, practicing together and preparing for this kind of eventuality, then that preparation is going to show through on the finals field.
Set, Egypt has pulled back 2-2.
Well, all square after 2. We're going to the third, and as the Egyptians shot first at the beginning of the match, they will shoot first again in this third set.
8-9 liner. Eight. Nine.
Taking a bit of time there. Be interesting to see how much they've got left on the clock. Egypt in their second rotation.
Nine. Ten.
Big fist bump from Linda. Big recovery since that 4 he shot in the opening arrow of the second set. 2 10s back to back since then.
Seven.
It's 3 7s in a row in the first rotation for Wian Ru.
Nine. Eight.
This is a big arrow. Door is open for South Africa to come back at Egypt in this third set.
Eight.
Put it into the 8 as well. So a 51, the provisional score. But let's not forget that first arrow from Ali Bahaeldin could get marked down to an 8. Currently marked as a 9.
4.
That is not going to help the cause.
Five, 6 liner.
I'm not surprised Linda has these good bad arrows. The way he draws the bow is quite difficult to maintain. He's moving a lot of his body. He's hunching over as he draws, and it's tough to keep stable.
10.
Well, there was a chance for South Africa in that second rotation, but a 4 from Brandon Gibbon after starting with a 9 in the first rotation really put the pressure on his 2 teammates, and Egypt have taken a 4-2 lead, having been 2-0 down. I mean, there were drop points there in the second rotation from Egypt, but they didn't fall outside of the 8, so dropping a 4 was never going to help for South Africa.
No, absolutely not. You can't expect to be shooting those kind of points in the finals arena and be taking the win, especially not now. Egypt seem to have found their comfort zone. It's tough, you know. It's tough to maintain stability in that kind of situation, especially when you're not used to it. But I think what's really positive is how Wian Ru finished that set with a 10. He shot a lot of 7s. He struggled to find the middle. But Wian Ru, who is the finalist, one of the finalists here in the men's individual event, you know, he's going to have to come back out there, and he's going to be without his teammates next time. So if he can't find the middle with his team, it's going to be tough with those nerves to find it without.
Well, like you say, the set system means it's quite possible for South Africa to come back into this, but they really need to start this fourth set very well indeed.
At the end of the third set, Egypt leads South Africa 4-2.
Recurve men's team gold medal match. Host nation South Africa trailing Egypt, the reigning champions, by 4 set points to 2. So it's Brandon Given from South Africa to shoot first in the fourth.
7.
Now, if you're on that Egyptian side of the line at the moment and your opponents have just put down 2-7, you can see them watching intently. They know exactly what's going on. 2-7s is not going to make you quake in your boots. It's not going to knock your knees together, and that's really what you need to do in archery. That's the only way you can affect your opponent. It's by letting them build the pressure in their own heads. And it's these few arrows will have done exactly the opposite.
Long hold. Gets a 9. Still provisionally 2 up here.
Six, 7 liner.
Looks like it's just about tickled the line.
I'll give a big speech about the lack of pressure, and Egypt don't take advantage. That's surprising.
Graham Lindner giving them some hope. And we're just outside the 10, so 45 the target set.
See that really big
They
deep
just
draw.
need to match the...
3.
Sorry, Chris. They just need to match that score from South Africa. That is not the greatest of starts to this second rotation.
9.
Ooh, now we've got a tasty one. 35 with 1 arrow to go. A 10 required from Ali Abdelbar to take the African title here in Pretoria.
8.
And he puts it into the 8. What a turnaround here, Chris.
Well, I really didn't expect that after 2 exceptionally solid sets from Egypt. It looked like they had this under control. South Africa, again, not putting enough pressure on, in my opinion. But Egypt, perhaps complacency taking hold, because you know, they proved their level was higher than this in the second and third sets, and now we're looking at a shoot-off, and in a shoot-off, anything can happen.
Well, 45 points set by South Africa, and yet they win the set. And it was a 23 through the first rotation, so 53 available to Egypt in that second rotation, and they still managed to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory.
Well, it was all about that opening arrow of the second rotation. Very odd, to be honest. I didn't really see anything different, but a low arrow can be anything. Can be losing a little bit of pressure, can be losing a little bit of back tension in the shot, collapsing slightly. You know, we like to see archers with flow, with smooth technique, with smooth processes. If he just didn't keep his tension quite correctly and the bow took a little bit of hold of him, at the moment of release, it could have dropped it down like it did. It's not a mistake he'll want to repeat, because if he does that again in the shoot-off, it's Titanic sinking, really.
Well, a bit of a wait here. The target judge was looking at the Egyptian side of the scoring line, but we are in a shoot-off. Consider it like a mini set. Each archer shoots one arrow each. We start with the score at the end of those 6 arrows. If they're tied, then we look to measure the closest arrow to the center. A real turnaround from South Africa, winning that final set with a 45. Looked like it was all Egypt's, but they managed to fashion just 20 points out of a maximum of 30 in their final rotation. The targets, as you can see, are being cleared and refreshed, so that if we do go to a measure, there are no other holes in the target. And Chris, perhaps you can talk us through again how this tiebreaker in a team situation works.
Yeah, very simple. It's not a full end, it's half a rotation. No, it's one rotation, half a set. I didn't explain that very well at all, Karim. Shall I start again? It's not a full set, it's one rotation, a team. But instead of doing it in a normal rotation, 3 arrows and then 3 arrows for the other team, it'll be 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. So they'll swap back and forth. Highest score for the 3 arrows wins. Should it be tied on score, it'll be the arrow closest to the middle that wins the match. Should they be identical, which is extremely unlikely, it'll be the second arrows compared. And should they be identical, it'll be the third arrows compared. I do remember a time where that was actually done, and it was for Olympic qualification and the Italian team at the 2015 World Championship. So however unlikely it may be, it is possible.
Well, let's see if they can repeat that here. That would give us some drama here at the first televised African Championships, that's for sure. Different dynamic here. The athletes all shoot one at a time. First, athletes go up from each team, shoot their arrows. So a change and a step up to the line too early. Had to get rid of that first arrow. Ali Baha Eldin. Not the start they would have wanted, perhaps.
No, but well dealt with. It's not a usual situation, so an impressive response.
7.
Just as well into the 7. So, no, it's only a point, but it's a big confidence boost, and added to that, a bit of pressure here on Ahmed Hegab. Well, he puts it into the 9. Graham Lindner. And he sees this opportunity for South Africa on home soil.
6.
Puts it into the 6, so any more than an 8, and Egypt will put this one out of reach. And it's a 9, and the big roar tells you everything you need to know here. 25, the score set by Egypt in the tiebreaker. This is a tough arrow, but Winru will perhaps already be thinking about that individual gold medal match coming up later.
10.
Oh, and he looks like he might just have clipped the 10 as well for a 24. It's not enough. Winru just talking to the coach, and he's looking down the scope. Did you see anything there, Chris, that suggests that we might have a measure going on here for the score?
I mean, we see the arrows clearly, but it's 70 meters away for these archers, and you know, even down a scope, it's never certain until the judge decision's been made.
It's high fives going on the South African side. I'm not entirely convinced, because if that is a 10 from Roux, that last arrow, the closest arrows for Egypt were 2-9, so if the scores are level, could be a South African win. And you look on the Egyptian side of the shooting line, they don't look happy at all.
You can see the judge taking a really good look on that right target, the distance.
Have they done it, South Africa? They look the more confident team, and look at that. A marked up arrow here for South Africa, and they have done it with the final arrow. What drama here in the Recurve men's team gold medal match at the African Championships.
And what a heroic performance from Winru, going for individual gold here as well. It looked out of reach, it looked unlikely, and he shot that last arrow of the final, last arrow of the shoot-off, hit low left, looked out of the 10, measured to be in, and that's what's won them the title here and upset the defending champions. Silver medalists 6 years ago, windhoek to Egypt, to South Africa. This time around on home soil in Pretoria, they've taken the gold medal.
Well, an incredible match there. He talked about the Italians qualifying with a multi-measure for the Olympics in Rio. Well, they've equaled the drama here, South Africa, on home soil. Tied score as far as we know, but the 10 from Winru at the end has given them, the Recurve men's team, African title.
Yeah, just go to show you're never out until the judge decision, are you? Because it looked like Egypt had this in control after an interesting second end. Oh, that's a great replay of the issue with the arrow in the first shot of the shoot off. So he crossed the line and took his arrow out before he'd crossed the line and was given a yellow card. And I was surprised actually that there wasn't more yellow cards in this match, because in these two team matches, because as we said, this is the first televised African Championships, the first time these archers have had to shoot in this kind of arena. So, you know, yellow cards, the penalties you can get for crossing the line too early, taking your arrow out too early, they happen at the World Cup stage, they happen on the World Championship stage sometimes. So for two inexperienced teams to last almost four inexperienced teams to last almost 2 whole matches without one, and then to deal with it properly when it came is very impressive, actually.
Ladies and gentlemen, please
Well,
welcome
phenomenal
the
finish to the Recurve men's team final here at the African Championships. South Africa taking the title from Egypt, Algeria with the bronze. We move straight on to the Recurve mixed team gold medal match. Let's go down to the field of play for the team introductions.
representing Côte d'Ivoire on target number 1. We have Esme Diombo and Frank Eyeni.
Sur la cible numéro 1, nous avons Esme Diombo et Frank Eyeni représentant le Côte d'Ivoire.
And on target 2, representing Algeria, Yasmin Belal. And Emma Dedin Bakri.
Sur la cible numéro 2, nous avons Yasmine Belal et Emma Dedin Bakri représentant l'Algérie.
And the judge for this match is Tabet Zidi.
Le juge pour ce match est Tabet Zidi.
So here we have it, the gold medal match in the Recurve mixed team competition at the African Championships. Ivory Coast on the left-hand side on target 1, Esme Diombo and Frank Eyeni. They go up against Algeria on the other side, Yasmin Belal and Imadedine Bakri.
And this event is important because part of the Olympic qualification process for Paris 2024 is the mixed team event. And in the African Games, should they go ahead and should that all be confirmed, there will be a qualification spot available to African nations in this competition, the mixed team competition.
So good dress rehearsal. Eyeni in the 8.
7.
Up into the 7. So 2 rotations, as in the men's and women's team competition, but obviously just 2 athletes. So 4 arrows per set. Target of 5 set points.
Nine.
So 18 plays 15 through the first rotation. Algeria came through Chad 6-0. A tiebreak against Tunisia. They won 19-16 to make this gold medal match. Ivory Coast, top seed, had a bye through the first round before beating Kenya also in the shoot-off.
8.
And again, it's 2 new teams on the podium. 6 years ago, the podium was Ivory Coast. Oh no, it's not 2 new teams. One of them's the defending champion.
8.
I can say that the Ivory Coast switching the rotation. Esme Diombo going first and last, and Frank Eyeni going in the middle 2 arrows.
7.
So 6 to share the points here. Very, very solid start from Algeria here, going up against the reigning champions and the number 1 seeds. A great start from them, Chris.
Yeah, I've lived in a French-speaking country for nearly 10 years, and I'm still unable to translate Ivory Coast into Côte d'Ivoire, so apologies for my terrible Francais, but difficult start for Côte d'Ivoire in this one. They didn't look as comfortable as the women did earlier in that women's team final. Algeria, surprise finalist, I would say. Wasn't expected to see them at this stage of the competition. Exciting for them to get off to a faster start. And it really, really, really did revolve around Yasmin Belal, who shot that first arrow. Good 9, nearly a 10. A lot of confidence for your team if your first shot goes in the middle and it's a good one, because you can communicate that back to your teammate and you can take advantage of that fast start in a match to get an early advantage, as they have done in this one.
Yeah, two shoot-offs as well in the semi-finals. Ivory Coast being forced into a shoot-off by Kenya, which they won just narrowly, 16-15. Ivory Coast being the top seeds, Kenya number 5 seeds, and Algeria as number 3 seeds took out Tunisia, the number 2 seeds, in the shoot-off in their semi-final. But a much stronger shoot-off for them, 19-16, giving them confidence perhaps.
Algeria leads 2-0.
I love shoot-off wins as a measure of a team's talent, because it really is the arrow that matters in the time that matters. And I think that's one of the most important things in archery. You look at some of the world's best archers at the moment in the compound category, Sarah Lopez, Ella Gibson, unbeaten in shoot-offs for a long time. So it's a great measure of just how well these teams are performing at this time.
Seven.
Solid.
And you could tell that was going in the middle. Really nice setup, really confident, good timing, good rhythm, smooth execution. It's good to watch.
Nine.
Just a lot of nervous, confident energy on the Algerian side of the shooting line. They must contain that.
8.
All square after the first 2 arrows from each team.
Nine.
So this is a gettable target.
Seven.
Well, it was. Still is only just, though. Needs a 10 to square the points in the second set.
Nine.
Oh, very close indeed, but not quite enough, and was a very strong comeback from Ivory Coast. They left the door open a little bit, but the opportunity wasn't taken by Belal and Bakri.
Yeah, very, very close to doing so then, though. The difference between this Ivory Coast mixed team and the women's team we saw earlier, look at the kind of body language. There's not enough enjoyment, there's not enough bounce from Frank Kayeni. I think the women looked great earlier. They looked comfortable, they looked confident, they looked like they were having fun, and that's carried over with Esme Diombo. But Frank Kayeni, he adds just a little bit of attitude to this. I think they'll start to really come into their own.
Well, they've drawn level. 2 out of the regulation 4 sets complete. And by contrast, Chris, on the other side of the shooting line, it was almost like Yasmin Belal needs to contain that excitement a little bit. She came off that off the line after shooting that first arrow in the second set, and she was, physically bouncing up and down on the balls of her feet.
It's fascinating how different archers use the energy of the finals arena. Some want to block it out, be in their own zone, and some do exactly the opposite. They use it, they feed off it, and I'm not saying there's a big crowd here. It's a fairly closed event for the local club and the athletes participating, but you heard that support when the South Africans won earlier, and if you can just feed off a little bit of that applause, a little bit of those cheers, it can really help steady your nerves, and ultimately nerves and self-doubt are what sink archers.
Yeah, well, there is Yasmin Belal, looking just a little bit more anxious than she was earlier on.
Is 2, Algeria 2.
Some of the students from this Tuck University or University of Pretoria in the crowd.
The wind has really quietened down. Those flags at the back end on the left, those branding flags, are completely still now.
So Algeria getting off to a great start, going 2-0 up, only to be pegged back by Ivory Coast halfway through this Recurve mixed team gold medal match. And it's the Ivory Coast to shoot first. This is an important set. If either team can get the 2 points, they will be in a very strong position.
7.
What do we say about that attitude, that bounce from Frank Ayeni? He'll need a bit more if Côte d'Ivoire are going to take advantage here.
5.
Well, that is a big door opened for Algeria. Yasmin Belal up on the shooting line.
8. 8. 9.
Diombo needs a good arrow here to put some pressure on. Very quick. Oh, that's gone high as well.
We saw a really good arrow from Diombo earlier. She was slow, she was deliberate, and that one was exactly the opposite. Fast, uncontrollable. And the result is Algeria have a huge opportunity.
8.
Bit of Bokwando there, though, from Belal.
Nine.
So more than enough in the end for Algeria to sneak the points here, but a 7 and a 5. Well, it's the 2 5s from Diombo, and I think Chris, you called it both very, very quick shots. I'll let you explain why they're uncontrollable.
She's got a lovely technique, and we saw it early in the match when she settled when she's happy, it just looks so smooth. It looks controlled. It looks solid. She's got good pressure on her front hand. The bow leaps. Execution really smooth. A quick shot is normally an indication that the setup isn't quite right because it's going through the clicker and executing too fast. So maybe just putting too much pressure, feeling the pressure of the event and of the moment, and putting too much into the bow and just really hasn't got time to settle down. And if she hasn't got time to settle down, then her backhand's not in the right place. Her aim's not going to be great. She's not going to have time to hit her rhythm. You know, you talk a lot about shots that take too long, Karim. Shots that take too short are exactly the same, because archery is all about rhythm and all about process, recurve archery in particular. And it's like a wave, you know. If you hit the wave at the right moment, it's usually a good shot. If you hit the rave at if you hit a rave at the wrong moment, trying to do archery, it'd be bad as too. If you hit the wave at the wrong moment, quite fast or slow, it's probably not going to go in the middle.
Given the lack of precipitation here in Pretoria, I'm quite surprised by the nautical theme that you've brought to your commentary this afternoon.
It's been wet all week. I'm still damp from yesterday's downpour.
All teams, can you please pay some attention? We need either the coach or the team manager.
Looks like we're having a few technical difficulties here.
Sudan, Kenya,
so do bear with us as we try to resume normal service. We'll be back just as soon as we can.
Thank you. All teams, can you please pay some attention? We need either the coach or the team manager to come up to the...
We return to the live action. And that will do it for Algeria. Against all the odds, they've come through the top 2 seeds to take the recurve mixed team gold medal here, and the African title with it. Yasmin Belal Cock-a-hoop along with Imadedine Bakri, the new African champions.
Fantastic result. We didn't see it. just like everyone watching, but fantastic result for Algeria. Huge progress to knock off the defending champions from Côte d'Ivoire. And yeah, really good progress for Algerian archery. We'll try and get that last set replayed in the break before the next match, the bronze medal in the recurve women's, because I'd love to see what they did there. Good resilience, good battle to take the win.
Oh, brilliant stuff there from the Algerians. They beat Chad, Tunisia, and the top seeds, Ivory Coast, on their way to the 2022 African Championship title here in Pretoria, South Africa. We're getting pictures here. There's 2 9s, an 8, and then here Imadedine Bakri with the winning arrow, and a look at those celebrations from the Algerians. And here are the men's team winners from South Africa.
Match, gold and team event at the African Archery Championships. Congratulations. Brandon, I want to start with you. It's your first time on the international line on a gold medal stage. Tell us a little bit about your experience in the match.
I was blown away by the experience. Just very nervous initially, but once it settled, it felt good to shoot. Hopefully we can get to do this again.
Graham, you guys started off winning the first set, and then Egypt obviously showed a little bit of dominance during the midsection. South Africa came back. Tell us a little bit through what the team talks were about during that midsection of the match.
Well, Seppi, what we were trying to do is just trying to calm ourselves down and keep ourselves serious but light. We were just discussing, just keep the good up, good shots, good strong shots in the center of the target. And we tried that and we got those shots. We did have a couple of flyers, everyone on the team, but we followed through with some very good, strong, positive shots, and I think that rattled the Egyptians as well.
Yeah, that gave you guys an opportunity to come back with the final set. Obviously, the highest score with 3 arrows going, and the closest to the center to win the match. Vian, everybody was holding their breath at the last shot. What was going through your mind? Did you know you had to shoot a 10 to win it for South Africa?
I knew I had to shoot the 10. I had it from the stands. And all that went through my mind is keep calm, just make sure of the shot, put it in the middle and just make a proper shot. Don't bother about trying to put it there, just shoot it.
You're shooting in the individuals as well, a little bit late in the gold medal match. We want to wish you good luck there as well. Team South Africa, congratulations on a good tournament. We hope you all the best for the coming year.
Thank you.
Oh, very honest assessment there from the Recurve men's team from South Africa, who have just become the African champions of 2022, and a good finish there from Vian Roux.
Yeah, and you heard Seppi Silliers, former medalist at the Hyundai Archery World Cup final in the compound men's team event for South Africa. Talked to him about his final a little bit later on as well. Hugely valuable practice for him to shoot that men's team final and deliver that winning 10 as well.
We've got 4 more matches to come in this recurve session. We turn our attention to the individual medal matches, starting with the women's bronze and gold, and we'll finish coverage today with the recurve men's bronze and gold medal matches. Well, the pause here is simply because Yasmin Belal, who competed in that last match, seeing Algeria taking the gold medal in stunning fashion in that recurve mixed team African Championship final. And she's out for the bronze medal match in the individual, which is coming up next. So given a little bit of time to recuperate. But there she is with her opponent, Fatoumata Sylla from Guinea, waiting in the wings. The coaches and judge are out. So let's throw to our stadium announcer for the presentation of the Recurve Women's Bronze Medal Match athletes.
On target 1, representing Algeria, Yasmine Bellal.
Sur la cible numéro 1, Yasmine Bellal représentant l'Algérie.
On target 2, representing Guinea, Fatoumata Sylla.
Et sur la cible numéro 2, Fatoumata Sylla représentant la Guinée.
And the judge for this competition is Amira Mansour.
Et le juge pour ce match est Amira Mansour.
So here we go, Recurve Women's Bronze Medal Match at the African Championships of 2022. Yasmine Bellal on target number 1 from Algeria. Came through the ranking round as the number 4 seed, going up against Guinea's Fatoumata Sylla, the 7th seed after the ranking round.
And Sylla should be really happy that Yasmine Bellal has been moved over to target 1. She's just won that match on target 2, so at least it's not identical practice for this bronze medal match.
5-6-9.
So the wind has just picked up a little bit from the team medal matches, and that one's drifted a long way low and right.
Seven. 6-7 lineup.
Well, looks like we're experiencing some more technical difficulties here. So apologies for that, but we will be back with you just as soon as we get the pictures back. Well, welcome back. Apologies for that delay in transmission. As you can see, Bellal has taken the first set. So Fatoumata Sylla from Guinea will be looking to improve on that first set. A 1 to start things off.
7. Seven. 3. 7.
Just not the consistency from Silla at the moment.
7.
So a big opportunity here for Belal to go 4-0 up. Didn't look too happy with that, but a 6 is enough. And a 20 plays 17 means a 4-0 lead for Yasmin Belal of Algeria. Looking for
one of your favourite terms, Karim. A bit of Bo Quando there to finish off. See the coach telling her to calm down, be a little more smooth with her execution. Doesn't matter, just enough. Got to beat the points that are in front of you. That's what she's done.
Not quite the consistency from Silla that saw her get through to this bronze medal match. Came through Kenya's Kinyua, and then Diombo from the Ivory Coast, who was the number 2 seed. She lost out to another Ivory Coast athlete, Yadani, in the semi-finals to bring her here. Full seed, Yasmin Belal from Algeria beat Gibane from the Ivory Coast. Redig from Namibia before losing out to the top seed, Anwar Kuki from Kenya. But Belal in the box seat in this bronze medal match. So Silla needs to at least get level points to keep this match alive, starting with a 6.
Slowly but surely, those arrows are climbing up the face for Belal.
7. 10.
Big sigh of relief there into the 10.
4.
Very quick arrow, all out to the right for 17 total score. So the medal has gone.
8.
Belal taking the opportunity to finish things off here with a 27 and a 9-arrow 6-0 victory for the African Championship bronze medal here in South Africa.
What a performance. Back-to-back matches, gold medal in the mixed team event, bronze medal in the individual events. And, you know, it wasn't perfect. I'm not going to say it was an incredible performance in the finals arena, but what a debut. And what a debut at these African Championships at this level. It's very impressive to see, and you can see how much it means to her. Kept that same bouncy attitude, positivity, very expressive. Cheering herself on the line and in the stead of a huge crowd of fans from Algeria traveling. So, you know, really fantastic performance and something to build on for the future for sure.
Yeah, and you talk about the back-to-back matches, as hard as that is. I mean, she's also been through the emotional ringer there, bouncing up and down in the mixed team gold medal match. Then going into a bit of a lull, a bit of a low as Ivory Coast came back at Algeria in that match. But here, pretty much in control right from the start.
Yeah, but but not in the middle like she was in the mixed team match. And it's very interesting, isn't it? You know, on that right target number 2, she was kind of good level, right height in the target. 4 minutes later, she comes back out again on the left target, and she's, you know, a good 5 rings low, which is interesting. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what could have caused that. Maybe a bit of a come down from the adrenaline. Maybe just different conditions slightly on the left side of the range to the right side of the range.
Well, Silla from Guinea doing her country proud, making it through to the medal match at the first televised African Championships. Just didn't get up and running quick enough. Started with a 1 at the very start of the match and then really struggled from there on in. Fatoumata Silla with 4th place, but it was Yasmin Belal from Algeria who, with that 10 with her second arrow in the last set, knew that she'd done just about enough. Certainly taken the pressure off with his last arrow, finishing in the 8 to claim the bronze medal here at the African Championships. Well, 70 meters down that range, they're still replacing the target face on target number 1. It's coming up next. We have the gold medal contest in the recurve women's division. Kuki Anwar from Kenya taking on Anne-Marie Yadani from the Ivory Coast, which promises to be a great match. That coming up very soon.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the judge and coaches for the field for the Recurve Women's Gold.
Time to go for gold again here in Pretoria. It's the Recurve Women's final in the individual tournament. Coaches and officials out on the shooting line. Here come the athletes. Let's go and join them down on the shooting line.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the athletes.
Mesdames et messieurs, veuillez accueillir les archères sur le terrain.
On target number 1, from Kenya, Kuki Anwar.
Sur la cible numéro 1, représentant le Kenya, Kuki Anwar.
And representing Côte d'Ivoire, Eleanor Yedani.
Sur la cible numéro 2, représentant le Côte d'Ivoire, et Kobian-Marie Eleonore Yedagne.
And the judge for today is Tabete Zidi.
Et le juge pour ce match est Tabet Zidi.
So here we go, Tabet Zidi officiating this match, and it's Kuki Anwar from Kenya on target number 1, the number 1 seed, going up against Anne-Marie Yedani from the Ivory Coast, the number 3 seed here. It should be a good one. Perhaps Anwar, the slight favourite. But this should be tight. It will be the Kenyan to get the match underway.
Nine.
These two have already faced each other once in the arena today in the women's team final. They've swapped targets for this match, though, other way around. It was the Kenyan archer who looked more comfortable with her teammates, and they took gold to open this session.
Eight. Eight, possible 9. Eight.
So 25 gettable here.
7.
That pushes it into the 7, and even with a potential markup of the second arrow, that's not going to be enough, and Anwar will take a 2-0 lead.
Yeah, make no mistake, Anwar has much more experience in these kind of situations. She shot at the Rio 2016 Olympic Games, got her ticket there by winning the last African Championships in Windhoek in 2016. And every single match at the Olympics is shot in the arena, biggest stage of all, biggest cameras of all, biggest performance of her life. I remember she ran Kibo Bay quite close, unfortunately. Not able to upset the London 2012 Olympic champion in Brazil, but certainly going to settle those nerves for future appearances in the arena like this one.
Yeah, experience means a lot, but it was a bouncy Ivory Coast women's team a little earlier on today. Can Anne-Marie Yadani bring that level to this women's individual gold medal match? Coach giving her a good old pep talk here in the break between first and second. It will be Yadani from the Ivory Coast to shoot first in the second set, and she needs to get off to a good start. So trailing by 2 set points, Yadani with the first arrow of the second set, and that has gone wide and low. Best shot of the day so far.
Yeah, and well executed as well. Smooth, good process. You know, it's all well and good looking at where it's landed, but if it's performed well as well, it's all the more satisfying.
Seven. Nine.
Best shot from Yadani for a 22.
9.
But that is a cracker again, and a 4-0 lead. This is looking very comfortable for Anwar, Chris.
Very comfortable indeed. again, it's experience. She's not new to this stage. She hasn't had aeons of experience, many matches in the arena, but she has had one really critical one in the Olympics, and this isn't unfamiliar to her. This situation, it's very different, right? Going out there alone as to with your team, and Yadani was really one of the engines of that Côte d'Ivoire team earlier in this session. She looks very different now, much more sedated, much more pensive, and it doesn't help. It really doesn't help. A switch in attitude is what she needs if she's going to pull this match back over the back 3 sets.
Feeling the pressure.
That's it. Kenya leads 4-0.
So a chance for Anwar to take the African title again in 9 arrows in this set, but it will be Anne-Marie Yadani shooting first. Can she do what Chris has suggested and just pick herself up and force that confidence? Shooting first gives her a chance to put some pressure on her opponent. Set number 3 is about to get underway.
9.
That was a critical error.
Eight.
And that's why a 1-point lead after 1 arrow. Can she maintain this now?
5.
And it's that consistency that's proven the problem.
6-7 liner. Nine.
So a 23 set is the target. A 9 for the win.
6.
She's pushed that out into the 5 for a 20. And just indicating that there was some issue with her process there, but it does give some hope to Anne-Marie Yadani there, taking the set with 23 points.
Yeah, Kuki Anwar, she kind of jumped just before she released that. You can see her move and the arrow leave the bow at the same time, and that's generally not conducive to a high-scoring shot. Under pressure, she might have just anticipated when it was going to go. Might just not have, not have waited, not have been patient. We spoke about, putting the pressure on. Anne-Marie Yadani got away with one in the middle of that set. She shot a bad second arrow, but fortunately, when it mattered, first and third, enough to put the pressure on, enough to force an error, and that's how you draw a match back at an event like this.
Yeah, she's got 2 points back into this. She needs to do some of the same in the 4th set here. It has given food for thought to Kuki Anwar from Kenya. Yadani kept it alive in the 3rd. Can she do the same here in the 4th?
Nine.
Now the crucial arrow. Dropped to 5 with her second arrow in the 3rd set. Having shot a 9 to start things off. This time it's a different story, and look at that grouping.
6.
And now the door is well and truly open.
Taken a while for Dagny to find her feet in this match, but she certainly found it now.
7.
The 7 for a 25, so a 10 required to share the points from Anwar.
9.
Puts it into the 9, but signs there of a few nerves perhaps being felt, or feeling the pressure from Anwar, and from 4-0 down, Anne-Marie Yadani from the Ivory Coast has drawn level with the number 1 seed Kuki Anwar from Kenya, and we go into a 5th regulation set here with the momentum very much with the athlete from the Ivory Coast.
The complexion of this match has completely changed. 2 sets in, Anwar was in control. It was Yadani who needed to step back, think about what she was doing, calm herself down, and she did exactly that. She opened that 3rd set with a good arrow, put the pressure on, and look where she is now. She's leveled things up, and now it's Anwar's turn to pull something out the bag, talk to herself, and make sure she's ready. She's ready to fight for these last 3 arrows.
You could say that Anne-Marie Yadani has got the wind in her sails, Chris.
If we were talking nautical, you could carry on, but we're not. We're on firm land at the University of Pretoria. Talking
At the
archery.
end of the 4th set, Cote d'Ivoire tied with Kenya.
Set number 5 of this thrilling gold medal match. We thought it might be a good one until that was Anwar pulled away and was in dominant form through the first 2 sets. But Anne-Marie Yadani has not let the neutrals down. Drawn level at 4 apiece. Anwar shooting first. How crucial will that be? Big movement of the body there, but recovers for a 9. And that's shaking her head. Had to settle herself back down there at full draw.
Nine.
Nothing in it. 2 arrows to go for each archer.
9.
Now, is that experience that Anwar's got going to pay off?
Nine.
Matched by Yadani. Is it going to come down to these final 2 arrows?
6.
A chance here, a massive chance here. A 6 will force a shoot off any more, and Yadani will take the gold. And she's hot at 9 for a 27 in the final set, coming from 4 set points to 0 down. Anne-Marie Yadani from the Ivory Coast has taken the Recurve Women's Individual African Championship title here in Pretoria, and what a way to do it.
What a fantastic match. It looked like a walkover from Anwar. She was so far ahead. She was so much more comfortable through those first 2 sets that she won. But very, very impressive from Anne-Marie Yadani. Leveled herself up, and you asked how critical it would be that Anwar was shooting first in that last set, that critical deciding set. It turned out really critical, but only because Anwar put the pressure on herself and couldn't deliver with her last arrow. I 100% believe if she delivered a 9, if she put down a 9 with that last shot, that match would have been hers. But she couldn't cope with the pressure. She shot one wide, and Yadani didn't need to do anything magical to win it. She just needed to follow her game, follow her process, and put down enough to win.
Well, that she did. Anne-Marie Yadani from the Ivory Coast is the 2022 Recurve Women's Individual African Champion. Kuki Anwar from Kenya collects the silver medal, and it's Yasmin Belal from Algeria with a bronze medal. Great to see 3 different nations represented on the individual women's podium. There's that big flinch on one of the arrows in the final set. She still managed to get a 9, but it was 9s all the way for Yadani, who'd thrown in a 6 and a 5 earlier on in the match. But Yadani bringing her A game to the final of the regulation sets. That 6 from Anwar opened the door. And when it mattered, Yadani got the arrow she needed to take the African Championship title.
Saved her smile in that match for the winning moment, didn't she? Really serious, unlike the team event.
Gold medal at
Deserved.
the African Championships. It was a very difficult and tight match. Take us through your match.
Côte d'Ivoire, félicitations pour votre succès. Le match a été excellent. Vous avez fait preuve de la combativité. Parlez-nous du match, s'il vous plaît.
D'abord, merci pour votre encouragement. Bon, le match était vraiment difficile parce que c'est elle qui me menait 4-0 et après j'ai commencé à remonter. On a fait 2-2, après 4-2. Maintenant la dernière, on avait fait 2 fois 9. C'était nos dernières flèches qui devaient nous différencier. Et elle a fait une 6 et je fais une 9. Bon, je peux dire que j'ai eu une chance pour pouvoir faire ce 9.
Bravo.
What are your plans for this coming year? You shot really well. You've got plans for international events?
Certain que cette victoire se considère comme un encouragement pour vous. Quels sont vos projets pour garder ce succès?
Bon, notre projet d'abord, notre objectif premier, ce sont les JO, les Jeux Olympiques de 2024 à Paris. Bon, nous allons faire plus d'efforts pour pouvoir garder ce niveau, pour pouvoir avoir des qualifications pour les Jeux Olympiques.
Merci beaucoup.
Bon courage.
Merci.
Thank you.
Well, it looked like she was trying to keep her sort of composure Korean-esque at the beginning, but couldn't help but let that smile break through.
Yeah, absolutely. She was talking about her goal, which is obviously the Olympic Games and qualification for the Olympic Games, which happens next year. There's work to do in Côte d'Ivoire, but certainly having an African champion will give them some confidence going into that selection process next year. A lovely bit of closing French from Sabicilia's South African former international compound archer, who's been threatening to make a return for some time, but instead has been tasked with the commentary, the interview position at this event.
We move straight on to the Recurve men's individual bronze medal match. And it's time for those athlete introductions.
Target number 1, representing Tunisia, Mohamed Hamed.
Sur la cible numéro 1, nous avons Mohamed Ahmed représentant la Tunisie.
And on target number 2, representing Mauritius, Ryan Chanyam.
Et sur la cible numéro 2, nous avons Ryan Chanyam représentant l'île Maurice.
And our judge for this event is Houssem Eddin Ben Abdul Fattah.
Et le juge pour ce match est Houssem Eddin Ben Abdul Fattah.
An interesting lineup here to the countries out for this men's recurve individual bronze medal match. Mohamed Hamed from Tunisia on the left as we look down the range, going up against the Mauritian Ryan Chanyam.
Eight. 10.
Our top seed, Chan Yam, had a bye through round 1.
8.
I say that it was actually Hamed who came through that first round with a bye as a top seed. Chan Yam, 15th seed, having to battle his way through to this bronze medal match. Has a chance here for another turnover. Oh, he's pushed that out into the 3 for a 23. Oh, explain that, Chris.
I can't explain that, but how disappointing, right? You're the 15th seed, you've battled your way up the bracket into the finals arena to this bronze medal match. Mohammed Hamid starts with 2 8s, Ryan Chan Yam with 2 10s. And who looks like the better archer, the top seed or the 15th seed? Finishing the opening set with a 3, that just, oh man, that's disappointing. I'm disappointed for him.
Well, the set system does allow for recovery. He sort of wiped the slate clean. Can outshoot his opponent in the second, will be all square again, but sometimes when you're not shooting quite as well as your opponent and you get given an opportunity, it can spur you on.
Yeah, and Mohammed Hamid didn't have a bad start, right? Say for 2 10s, what would you like from your first 2 arrows in a set if you haven't moved your sight in between, which he didn't? You'd like them to land in the same place, and his were barely an inch apart, 2 inches apart in the 8s low, so it's easy to deal with. If you've shot 2 good shots, they're going in the same place, you move your sight, the next time around, you're going to shoot something better. So, you know, Ryan Chan Yam, disappointing start after an incredible first 2 arrows. Let's see if he can pull it back together.
Set number 2. Ryan Chan Yam from Mauritius, trailing by 2 set points, will shoot first.
Five. 6.
Nervy from the pair of them.
8. 8. Possible 9. 9.
A curious 22 there for Chan Yam.
9.
And a 9 is enough to take the points. 23 plays 22 in this second set. And Mohammed Hamid from Tunisia goes 4-0 up. Very nervy though, Chris.
Yeah, we've talked about consistency all day, and this match just hasn't had it so far. We've had arrows in the middle, great. We've had arrows in the 1. It's you know, there needs to be that level. We can talk about experience. We can talk about this being a new situation for both archers, but we've got to find that consistency fast, because there's a lot of new situations in sport. There's a lot of new opponents. There's a lot of new competitions, and preparation is what is key for this kind of final, this kind of event.
Well, Hamed just looking a little bit more relaxed, but he'll want to find that consistency. He's shooting better in terms of score, but there's certainly a lot of nerves out there in this bronze medal match.
At the end of the second set, Tunisia leads 4-0.
So a chance for Hamed to do this in 9 arrows. Some respects Chan Yam, who will shoot first in the third set and release the shackles a bit. So here we go, set number 3 in the Recurve men's individual bronze medal match. Chan Yam, trailing by 4, will shoot first.
9. Seven possible 8.
We'll be relying on the graphics for this set. There's a technical problem with our Target 2 camera.
9.
Oh, awesome ingenuity from the camera crew. Another good shot from Chan Yam. He's put 2 good ones together in both sets so far, but it's that third one that matters.
9. Eight possible 9.
So 26 set, a 10 for the bronze.
8.
Puts it into the 8, and that gives him 25. So Chan Yam gets himself on the scoreboard. A little bit nervy there from both of them still, but a 9.98, by far the best performance from Ryan Chan Yam from Mauritius, and he closes the gap to just 2 set points.
Yeah, look at that. The first set he's put together 3 reasonable, consistent arrows, and he's won it. Yeah, does this not have the same feeling as the Recurve women's final we saw moments ago? Kukianwa went 4 set points to 0 up, and then her opponent, Anne-Marie Yagadni, came back and won it. Same thing here. Mohamed Hamed went 4 set points up, but it's Ryan Chan Yam who's actually shot the better arrows in this one, and if he can pull that third arrow together, he has a chance to roar back in this one.
Target judge still having a look at the arrows in the 2 targets. Looked like they were looking at Chan Yam's a little bit more closely than Hamed's.
Tunisia leads 4-2.
But confirmed that the points in the third set go to Chan Yam. Still trailing, he will step up to the line first in the 4th set. So finely balanced this Recurve men's individual bronze medal match at the African Championships.
9.
Hamed here from Tunisia still leading by 2 set points.
9.
Much more comfortable shot.
10.
First 10 since the first 2 arrows from Chan Yam.
8.
And now he can put this one out of reach. 9 is enough to draw the set points level.
7.
And of course, puts it into the 7. So, another chance here for Hamed. A 10 for the African bronze. Just into the 9. So that means he draws level on points, and they share the points in the 4th set. And Mohammed Hamed maintains a 2-point lead going into the final regulation set. And all he needs to do now is match Chan Yam as he did in that 4th set. Tip the balance a little bit back towards the Tunisian here, Chris.
Yeah, critical last arrow, you know. We always talk about arrows that matter in critical moments. Good arrows in critical moments. The right arrow at the right time, however you want to put it, that was an arrow that mattered. 10 would have won it, but at least he's given himself a significant advantage by taking this, by sharing the set points in that match. Chen Yam needs to win outright to force the shoot off. He's got the big uphill battle here.
Well, he'll shoot first in this final set, and some say that's an advantage. It gives you a chance to put pressure on your opponent. Needs to be back in the middle of the target to do so. 5-3, still finely poised. Advantage, though, to the Tunisian, who's going to shoot second. Just needs to match the scores of the Mauritian.
Six possible 7. Eight.
So advantage, if anything, goes more towards Hamed now.
9. 10.
Well, you talked about important arrows, Chris.
10.
Oh, lovely finish there for a 25, but now a 7. Sorry, an 8 is enough.
7.
Puts it into the 7, and a 7 draws the scores level as he did in the 4th set, and it is enough for the African bronze medal, taking it for Tunisia 6-4 provisionally, because that first arrow from Ryan Cham Yam was marked as a 6, but for a measure. So now this measure becomes so important. If that gets marked up to a 7, we are going to have another shoot-off with the archers tied at 5 apiece.
Nervy weight. You felt that second arrow from Mohammed Hamed that hit the middle had ended things, you know. That was it. That looked like the pressure was all on Chan Yam, but he finished with a 10 as well. Really back and forth match, and weirdly, despite the wayward arrows, it's kind of when they've needed to each that they've managed to put one in the middle. Yeah, odd one here.
Nervy moments, that's for sure. Looking down to see what the target judge has to say. It's that target on the right-hand side that's the critical one. The first arrow, has it clipped the line with the 7? That's what Ryan Chan Yam is hoping for. Mohammed Hamed from Tunisia looking on. Well, that would indicate that we... I was just about to say the same thing. So that 6 got marked up to a 7, and the scores are tied after 5 sets at 5 apiece. Target faces will be replaced, as they always are for a shoot-off, and now one arrow decides the bronze medal here in Pretoria in the Recurve men's individual tournament. They score the same. It's closest to the center who will get the podium spot. Despite going 4-0 up, Hamed has had this feel of clinging on in this bronze medal match. Two points to Chanyam in the third, shared the points in the fourth, and then nicked the fifth on a measure to draw level at 5 apiece. And now it's down to a single arrow.
And let's not
4
forget that
tens.
it's Ryan Chanyam who has shot the more tens in this match, who has shot the better arrows in this match. He's also shot some pretty wide arrows as well. Let's see if we can dip into the right bag for this critical shot.
Yeah, 4 tens from Ryan Chanyam for just the 1 from Hamed. Mainly 8s and 9s from the Tunisian. So you're right, it's which option Chanyam goes for. Can he maintain his nerves? Can he maintain his composure? It's the same for Hamed. 1 arrow to decide the Recurve men's individual bronze medal at the African Championships, and it's Hamed to shoot first.
8.
Room. There is room here. Oh, that's in the 8 as well. Now. Who knows which one is closer? This is very tight indeed. There's a lower right arrow from Mohammed Hamed. A bit more of a true right from Ryan Chanyam. Mauritius versus Tunisia. And I think we're going to have a measure here on a couple of 8s, unless it's absolutely obvious once the target judge takes a look. Chris, any ideas?
I have absolutely no idea. I do think Mohammed Hamed got away with a shot there, got away with a bit of an odd the edge one. It kind of went fast. He kind of had a look of surprise on the moment of release. And then, yeah, Ryan Chanyam looked confident, but I can't believe how close those two landed. In a kind of, drew a diameter out from the center of the target, which of course is exactly what the judge is doing down there, measuring the two. I mean, it couldn't be closer. This couldn't be a more dramatic end to a match that really, yeah, was probably the tightest we've seen at this event.
Well, decision has been made.
Ladies and gentlemen, give a warm round of applause for Tunisia for winning the bronze medal.
Well, there you go. On the measure, it is Mohammed Hamed from Tunisia who's taken the bronze medal. But what a curious match that was. Really tight, really nervy. And having gone 4-0 up and then being pegged back in the single arrow shoot-off, Mohammed Hamed from Tunisia takes the bronze medal at the African Championships. That must have been exceptionally close. They took a while to make their call, but it is the Tunisian who will end up in the podium here in Pretoria a little bit later on today.
Tunisia showed real promise 3 years ago at the African Games, where there was the places won for the Tokyo 2020 Olympics. A lot of medals there in Rabat. And then, of course, Two Tunisian athletes making Tunisia's debut at the Olympics in the archery competition. One of them, Mohamed Hamid.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the judge and coaches to the field for the Recurve men gold match.
That woman on the right there, the athlete marshal, that's Gerda Roux, former international compound, and the mother of Vian Roux.
Please welcome the athletes.
Well, the officials and the judges are out. It's time for the last of our matches here at the African Championships. It's the Recurve men's individual gold medal match here in South Africa. And they have representation here. Let's go down for the athlete introductions.
And on target 1, representing South Africa, Vian Roux.
Sur la cible numéro 1, Vian Roux, représentant l'Afrique du Sud.
And representing Côte d'Ivoire, Franck Eyeni.
Et sur la cible numéro 2, Franck Eyeni, représentant le Côte d'Ivoire.
And the judge for this match is Amira Mansour.
Le juge pour ce match est Amira Mansour.
So this is it, the last of the matches here in Pretoria. Vian Roux from the Republic of South Africa taking on Franck Eyeni from the Ivory Coast. Who is going to take this 2022 African title in the Recurve men's competition? Vian Roux will get the match underway.
7.
He's the second archer who was hitting the middle on the right target during the team matches to move to the left and go low. Very interesting.
9. 8. 9.
Very Kisik Lee style from Franck Eyeni. Slow, stops near the face, comes in for execution. Vian Roux much more classical.
8.
So 23 set as the target. Three nines for a 27, and a bag of consistency from Franck Eyeni, taking the first 2 set points. And a really, really composed start from the athlete from the Ivory Coast, Chris.
3 nines, but more importantly, a really good group. But you know, I said about, well, before I say that, I wish I could roll my R's like our in-stadium announcer for this sentence. It is a family affair for the Roux. I said that Vian's mother was the athlete marshal, calling the athletes into the arena. His coach there is his father, Patrick Roux, who's also the president of the South African Federation, really the driving force behind bringing this African Championships to Pretoria. And what a fantastic ending to the event for people that have put so much effort into it, standing behind his son as he goes for gold.
If only you could roll your R's. Big moment for the Roux family. But
ladies and gentlemen,
better start from Franck Eyeni.
2, South Africa 0.
Two set points to 0 in favour of Franck Eyeni. Vian Roux from South Africa probably has more backing here, although he We are hearing big cheers for the Ivory Coast athlete here in Pretoria. Set number 2. That is just what he needed to calm his nerves, but also put a bit of pressure on his opponent.
8 possible 9.
Fourth arrow low and right for Francaini, but really explosive first shot from Vian Ru.
9.
You know, when it comes to the arena, sometimes it isn't about trying to make the perfect execution, the perfect shot. It's about dealing with the situation, especially when you're new to it. Vian Ru doing a great job of that so far.
10.
Beauty. Now the scoreboard would suggest this one is out of reach, but a 10 here, and I think that first arrow will be very carefully looked out for Faini.
9 possible 10.
Ooh, now, is that just outside? It's marked as a 9 for a 27, but now if things go in his favour here, Faini's 8 could be marked up to a 9, and the third arrow could get marked up to a 10. So perhaps this isn't as simple as it looks. If the scores remain the same, or if only one arrow is marked up, of course, for Faini, it will be all square. So another little bit of tension as we wait for the decision from the target judge.
Either way, the best set of the day for anyone in this arena from Vian Ru. Consistent, best group. But Francaini also looked really uncomfortable during the mixed team final. He got a silver medal in that. Now looking much, much more comfortable. Grouping very well.
Ladies and gentlemen, at the end of the second set, South Africa 2, Cote d'Ivoire 2.
Well, as you probably heard, the scores have been levelled here. Faini went 2-0 up, but a 29 from Vian Ru has seen him draw level. Big movement there, but somehow manages to get it back into the 10. How did he compose himself there?
This is a bit of a case of lightning in a bottle for Vian Ru. Those shots are not composed. They're very explosive, very on edge, but if he can keep them in and about the middle, he has a chance to make a mark in this final. I really think Francaini is leaving points on the board, not moving his sight. Everything is right.
9 possible 10.
Well, Ru looks happy with that. He thinks that's a 10 and has put this one out of reach.
10.
Into the 10, so we again just wait. It's that third arrow from Vian Ru that is going to have to be checked. It's marked as a 10 at the moment, giving him 28 points. But I noticed there that Amira Mansour, the line judge, just had a little word with Francaini there. What would that have been about?
I think he's I think he is drawing a little fast. I think she's telling him just to make sure he waits until the buzzer finishes and moves onto his side of the lane before he starts his shot. I think it's good from the judge to have a little chat, calm him down a little bit. Talking to his coach there, and he was signaling to the right as well. So maybe he's identified that his arrows are landing all to the right, and he needs to do something about it. Good long look at the targets from the South African side of the shooting platform as well. This is an important arrow, an important measure, an important decision.
Well, they're looking at Aini's target here. Not more closely than perhaps we thought they would do. It was more about that third arrow from Roux.
At the end of the third set, South Africa leads for the 4-2.
So a confirmed 4-2 lead for the South African. Dropped the points in the first set, but has won sets 2 and 3 and can claim the African title here in set number 4. It will be Frank Aini from the Ivory Coast who will shoot first. Needs to be careful of not going too early on his second and third arrows. Lowest arrow so far from Aini.
9.
Another explosive arrow from Vian Ryu, but he's making it work.
9.
Well, now things could take a turn. A 10 from Aini here, and he'll put this one out of reach and draw level.
10.
Puts it into the 10. What a cracker of a match we've got. And that confirms that it definitely will be 4 apiece between these two. Aini taking sets 1 and 4. Vian Ryu taking sets 2 and 3. And there is nothing between these two as we go into the 5th and final of the regulation sets. We got another tiebreak lined up here, Chris.
Biggest arrow in the biggest moments. Frank Aini, he's not been on fire, but he's been consistent, and he just found that middle when he needed to. Took advantage of a mistake from Roux, and yeah, it's all level. 3 arrows, potentially 3 arrows to decide the African title here.
Looks very concerned though, doesn't he, Aini?
Doesn't look comfortable. He doesn't look comfortable, and it's weird because he didn't look comfortable in the mixed team finally, and he didn't shoot well in that, I thought. But he is shooting much better in this. Vian Ryu just trying to ride the wave.
Yeah, he's the one that's at least outwardly showing a bit more confidence. And there looks to be a bit of an internal battle going on with Frank Aini. So 5th and final set here of this Recurve men's individual gold medal match at the African Championships. Vian Ryu on home soil in South Africa will shoot first. Can this be decided in the next 6 arrows?
8 possible 9.
Provisional 1-point lead. A redraw here from Vian Ru. Time is not with him now. And a big flinch. And somehow pulls off a 9. That is remarkable.
I have absolutely no idea how he got away with that, but he dealt with the situation, he reset, and it could prove critical.
It could do. Provisionally level, but let's not forget that first arrow from Ru may go for a measure. Oh, it's not great, is it? Oh, he does not look happy, but somehow he gets it into the 10. A 27 for him. Provisionally could go up to a 28. We need a 10 from Aini here to make this one continue. Anything less, and it's all done. Puts it into the 9 for a 26, and I think that means that it is all over. Nothing there for Aini to contest, and a 6-4 victory, and the African Championship title for Vian Ru from South Africa. He's done it here on home soil, and what a boost that is for him and for his entire family.
Poetic, what a poetic finish to this championships. Vian Ru, he wasn't the most comfortable archer in that final. That second arrow when he reset, I mean, my heart jumped out of my mouth. I thought that was it. I thought that was over. Pulled something out of the bag for that one. Looked uncomfortable in his last arrow. Could have gone anywhere, frankly. I was thinking, you know, blues, reds, but it hit dead center, hit the 10. Right place, right time. Father behind him. Mother 10 meters away, and this 20-year-old has just become African champion. What a way to cap off this event for South Africa. They've done so much to bring the African Championships back after 6 years. Done a great job with the production. Set a new standard. First ever time on the stream. And Vian Ru's just really capped it off, hasn't he? Bringing the last gold medal home.
Brilliant finish to a brilliant championships here in Pretoria. And confirmation there that Vian Ru from South Africa is the Recurve Men's Individual African Champion of 2022. It's silver for Frank Aini from the Ivory Coast, and Tunisia's Mohamed Hamed completes the podium in the bronze medal position. What a finish! It was a brilliant start from Vian Ru. Got off to a, well, better start from Aini, I should say, getting off to a 2-0 lead, but the next 2 sets went the South Africans' way, only for a measure to turn things back level for Frank Aini. But this critical second arrow, a redraw, followed by a massive flinch, and somehow gets it into the 9. Had to shake that one off. Aini finishing with a 9, 8, and 9. This third arrow did not look comfortable at all, but it was enough. Somehow getting it into the 10, willing it into the 10. He thought he'd done it there, and then a 10 perhaps would have made things a little bit more tense for Ru. But finishing strongly with a 9, not quite enough. And Vian Ru is the African champion. What a championships, Chris.
Vian Ru, Recurve compound man, gold medalist. Congratulations, 2022 African champion. You were ranked 4th going into the eliminations and so on. You got the gold medal. How do you feel?
I feel amazing. I can't describe to you how it feels to finally win a big event. This stage has you nervous, as every archer that has shot in a big event knows. The stage has you nervous, and I'm just very happy that I could pull through on the last minute on the stage the nerves were up, but I'm very happy.
You shot the team event a little bit earlier, showing that you can do it when it counts. Going into the last set, you also had to make it count. It was a very important set. Your second last shot was a little bit hesitant, and you had a few seconds left to make that shot. And the last shot, obviously, you had to shoot a 10 to win it. What went through your mind during those last two shots?
The second last one, I could feel I was shaking, nervous, because I knew 7 seconds is not a lot of time to make a good shot with a recurve. But I just made sure that I followed all the steps and shot a proper shot. And the last one, I don't even know what went through my mind. I just aimed and aimed and aimed, and it did not want to click. But all I thought was pull until it clicks. You can't shoot it through the clicker, and I made it count.
Yeah, I think what made this final so special also is you had your dad in the coach's box behind you. What did you guys talk about? Was there any strategy that you spoke about? He obviously being a veteran international competitor himself. Did he give you some words of encouragement?
We just spoke about how I know I'm going to win. No negative comments, As any athlete knows, you don't want any negativity behind you. So we just kept positive, kept telling me that just keep them in the middle, keep pulling, keep the rhythm, and stay calm.
Your form's looking good, Vian. You were at the Youth Olympics. You've got a gold medal here in the African Championships, going into next year, and the World Championships, etc., and Olympic Games coming up in a few years. We want to wish you the best of luck.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Well, Chris, we didn't quite get your answer there, but what a championships and what a finish there.
A fantastic finish. Yeah, what a way to end it. Couldn't have been better. As Seppi said, with his dad behind him in the box, and his dad's been so instrumental in bringing this event and doing such a great job with this event in Pretoria this week. What a way to cap it off. Vian Roux winning gold. Yeah, that's my highlight. But for today and for this championships, great job from South Africa in hosting. Great job for the team in performing. Yeah, just a beautiful way to close things out.
Fantastic recurve here today in this session. Ivory Coast taking the women's team gold. South Africa taking the men's team gold. Algeria taking the recurve mixed team gold. A brilliant performance from Anne-Marie Yadani from the Ivory Coast to take the women's individual gold. And then Vian Roux finishing things off with a gold medal for the host nation in the men's individual recurve. Thanks to you, Chris, and thanks to all of you for watching. Our next live coverage comes from the Pan American Championships on the 25th and 26th of November. Until then, take care.